Make sure that's on the right one too. Counseling, yeah. Poster again. Oh, he's got it. Oh, no. Can you make it into a small window outside? There you go. Okay.
Hello today and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's press conference on the launch of the Homeowner Assistance Fund, our HAF program. At this time, I'd like to welcome the presence of the Honorable Joshua F. Tenorio, our Acting Governor of Guam, as well as Ms. Bernadine Guinness, Acting Director for the Department of Administration, Ms. Audrey Tapasnia, Program Director for the Homeowner Assistance Fund, as well as Ms. Vivica or Vicky Lindau, Program Manager for the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. Joining us virtually, we do have our program partners. We have the Honorable Jesse Allig, President for the Mayor's Council of Guam and Mayor of PD. From the Department of Revenue and Taxation, we have Ms. Daphne Mansipishimizu, our Director, joined by her Deputy Director, Ms. Marie Lozama. From the Guam Power Authority, we have Mr. James Borja, Utility Services Administrator for the Customer Service Division. From the Guam Waterworks Authority, we have Mr. Christopher Badassi, Assistant General Manager of Administration and Support, as well as Ms. Tolling Taitano, Chief Financial Officer. From the Guam Waterworks Authority, that's Chris Badassi, Ms. Tolling Taitano. From the Guam Solid Waste Authority, we have Mr. Andrew Gale, Chairman for GSWA Board of Directors, joined by Mr. Irving Slyke, General Manager. We have a few of our partners or lenders joining us today. We have Ms. Francine Cruz from the First Hawaiian Bank. From Bank Pacific, we have Ms. Veronica Evaristo. And from the Bank of Guam, we have Ms. Rihanna Cruz and Ms. Bernadine Pereira. Thank you so much for joining us virtually. At this time, I now want to give the floor to the Honorable Joshua F. Tenorio, Acting Governor of Guam, for his remarks.
Today, and good morning. I'm very, very pleased that today we are executing and launching the Guam Homeowner Assistance Fund program. This program is being administered by the Guam Department of Administration and is focused on providing mortgage assistance, utility assistance, and other property assistance to individuals and residents of our island who have been affected by lost wages by the pandemic that we're currently experiencing. As we continue to battle the pandemic, utilizing our public health response, we concurrently are focusing on the recovery of our people from the pandemic. This program is designed to address and assist homeowners who are behind in their mortgages and perhaps at risk for foreclosure. So this morning, to share with us the details of the program, I am pleased to be with Bernie Guinness, who is the Deputy Director and Acting Director of the Department of Administration, Vicky Lindau, and Audrey Tapasnia. This team has effectively launched and is operating the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. And for individuals who are renters who have been affected by the pandemic and are in financial hurt, that program remains available. So let me now introduce Bernie Guinness from the Guam Department of Administration. Bernie.
Thank you, Acting Governor. Good morning. My name is Bernie Guinness. I am the Acting Director for the Department of Administration. Certainly, I'd like to also send our regrets for Director Edward Byrne. He is currently off island. But to start things off, I would like to thank Lieutenant Governor, Acting Governor, and of course, Governor Leon Guerrero, the administration, and working with our federal counterparts and bringing in the funding that is needed for these particular types of assistance for our island community. So I'm just going to go ahead and give a little background as to what the Homeowner Assistance Fund is about. Certainly, Acting Governor Josh had mentioned, the Department of Administration currently is administering the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. That currently is in place, and that will expire in September 2022 of this year. But moving forward today, we're very pleased to announce that we're launching the HAF program. Giving a little background to it, it was established through the American Rescue Plan, and the funding is coming from the U.S. Treasury. Basically, what the purpose of this particular program is about is to prevent homeowners' mortgage and utility delinquencies, defaults, foreclosures, loss of utilities, and displacements of homeowners experiencing financial hardship after January 21st, 2020. You requalify expenses related to mortgages and housing. Again, so we are very pleased that today is the first day. We have our online web base that is on our website. Certainly the staff the community can also come into our office at DOA to pick up the hard copy. Just to kind of give other backgrounds, the plan was approved. Thankfully, it was approved in January 19th of this year. Our team, Ms. Vicki and also Ms. Audrey, has worked hard and diligently in putting best practices together and creating this plan, again, from the U.S. Treasury. We submitted our plan back in July of last year. Thankfully, we were approved back in January 19th. So in the last 2 weeks, we were a team, our HAF team, folks from our DOA, our accounting staff. We are working hard and putting the program so that we can present and launch this out to you. The grant award, the total grant award that was given to the department is $13,587,562, of which we are given 85% of that will be going into direct services. So that dollar amount is $11,549,428. And then, of course, we've got the 15% administrative cost, which is at $2,038,134. So again, today's our first day. We're very excited. Thank you, Governor, for allowing us to put this press conference together, working with our partners, our stakeholders. But again, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Ms. Audrey Topaznik, who is our program director, and what she'll do is she'll go ahead and provide information on the eligibility and some other information for the community.
Thank you, Director Guinness. Hafaday, Governor Tenorio, Director Guinness, community partners, homeowners, and everyone present. Today is a long-awaited day, and I'm here excited to inform Guam homeowners relief is here. Beginning today, homeowners impacted by the pandemic can now apply for financial relief assistance with Guam's HAP program. The Leon Guerrero and Tenorio administration worked aggressively with the U.S. Department of Treasury to finalize the guidelines to launch this program. A huge thank you to our governor and lieutenant governor for their leadership and support to securing more grant funding for families to keep them safe and in their homes. So thank you. To qualify for financial assistance with Guam's HAP program, homeowners must own and occupy a home in Guam as their primary residence and experience a financial hardship associated with the COVID-19 pandemic after January 21st, 2020. And lastly, their household income must be equal to or less than the program income limits specifically identified for Guam's HAP program. Eligible homeowners can receive up to $15,000 of financial relief assistance. This financial relief assistance will be applied to one and/or a combination of qualified expenses under any of the three relief assistance mentioned earlier. Qualified expenses through our mortgage assistance program includes loans in foreclosure, forbearance, and loans in delinquent status. Also eligible expense under the mortgage assistance is late payments, which includes principal, interest, late fees, escrow, and legal services. Our second relief assistance program qualified expenses include utility accounts in arrears, under a payment plan or schedule for disconnection. Utilities include, or that are covered, is power, water, and trash removal services. Our last relief assistance program that was approved under the U.S. Treasury is property assistance. Qualified expenses include property tax delinquency and homeowner association late payments and fees. Homeowners who potentially meet this criteria, you are highly encouraged to apply for the HAP program. The Department of Administration strives to relieve documentation burden to homeowners and have streamlined application processes. As Director Guinness mentioned earlier, homeowners can apply online at doa.guam.gov or fill out our PDF format, pre-application format, also available on our website, and email to haf@doa.guam.gov. DOA also recognized that homeowners needing special accommodations and who are unable to access online services may also visit the HAP program office on the second floor of the ITC building Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pre-applications are accepted starting as of 8 a.m. this morning until February 11, 2022. Now, this program wouldn't have been able to launch today with certain individuals who really assisted the HAP team in making this possible. I would really like to recognize and thank the Emergency Rental Assistance team under the supervision of Vicki. As Director Guinness mentioned earlier, in developing the HAP program, in developing the plan, we really took a look at and adopted some of the best practices, policies, and procedures from the ERA program. So Vicki, thank you so much to you and your team. And of course, under the leadership of Director Burns and Deputy Director Guinness, with their support in assisting and making sure that the HAP team had the equipment and the everything needed in order to make this happen. And lastly, I do want to thank and recognize my team, the HAP program staff, who are all at the office right now assisting our applicants. Thank you for your hard work and your commitment to get where we're at today.
Thank you, Audrey. We anticipate that there will be 1,000 households that could be helped with this assistance. And with regards to another part of the program, the emergency rental assistance, so far 2,300 households have been assisted with more than $10.2 million of program funds for that aid. And so now I just want to close by thanking our partners, all the partners in the private sector and the public sector, the utility agencies, for coming together and creating a very expedited way to execute this program. And Crystal, we are ready for some questions.
Thank you, Acting Governor. Again, as I briefed the media prior to this event, we want, as a courtesy to our panel and our program partners joining us today, questions will be limited to housing assistance programs. All other questions can be directed to me, and I can address offline. And I want to open the floor to media questions. Nestor Lecanto, KUAM.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Question about the, as y'all know, a lot of our local households are multi-generational. And so does that $15,000 limit, how does that $15,000 limit apply? Say if a son is living with his parents and he has his own family and he covers the utility bills, well, and then they cover the mortgage, is there a separate $15,000 limit for them and a separate $15,000 limit for him?
Thank you, Nestor, for that question. The $15,000 it is a homeowner who will be applying for the assistance. And so everyone living in that household, their income will also be taken into consideration for eligibility. And so whatever is for the mortgage loan for that home, for the utilities for that home, for property tax for that home, will all fall under that up to $15,000 of financial relief assistance. So it's basically per household, per home.
Okay, gotcha. And this goes to the utilities, James, Chris, maybe Andrew too. Have the utilities modified their disconnection policies, not cutting off homeowners who will be applying or charging reconnection fees?
Hi, Nestor. Thank you for that question. Yes, what we've been doing is we've been accommodating under the emergency rental assistance program. So we'll treat the HAF the same way. The customer know what their tracking or their eligibility number is, and then from there we will work with the customer to shelter their account, and we work closely with DOA as well.
How about late penalties? Still going to be assessed?
That's something that we would have to discuss with our finance team. But as far as late, since the pandemic, we have not been charging late fees.
Okay, and just one more to the Lieutenant Governor. Is it possible that we could ask for more money? Do you think this will be enough?
Well, I tell you what, if we have a greater experience in getting qualified applicants the aid, then we can make a case and go back. These amounts were based on estimates and projections of the total population that was adversely affected by the pandemic. So if the experience goes bigger than we anticipated, there will be mechanisms for us to go and get additional assistance.
Thank you. I'll defer to the colleagues.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nestor. Candid News, Troy Torres, any questions from you relative to housing assistance? If not, I'll come back. Joseph Titano, Guam Pacific Daily News.
Good morning, Governor, everybody. One question I have, I know with the emergency rental assistance program, there was the freeze on evictions. Are we going to see likewise a freeze on foreclosures if people are in the process of applying already for this program?
Well, I tell you, that's why the banks are part of the partnership here. When people are at risk for foreclosure or getting notices, then the banks are going to be able to direct them to apply for this program. And then we would work closely with the banks to try and avoid foreclosure. Audrey, is there anything you wanted to add?
We have been meeting with the mortgage lenders since the planning of this program. And so they are aware of what the plan entails. And of course, part of that partnership is to, once the program is launched, that we work closely with the banks to avoid the foreclosure. And yes, so we are going to continue with that partnership and to service as many as eligible homeowners that the grant is able to.
Thank you for that. And I know one of the concerns, at least with the emergency rental, also was just kind of the length of time and the kind of the long document process. Have we learned anything from that? Are we going to streamline this a little bit to make it easier for people to apply?
Thank you for that question again. Yes, absolutely. And we have worked very closely with Vicki and her team, and we have identified streamlined a lot of processes, especially with the utilities. Everything has already been established. And as James mentioned, that we can also follow that same process. And also payment. And so part of U.S. Treasury's guidelines is to really streamline and lessen the burden of documentation. And so that's why we've decided to also do the pre-application process in the beginning. No documents are required for homeowners to submit. Once we determine they're eligible, and that is when we will request some documentation. If there's certain required documents that the homeowner is not able to produce, then we would sit down with them and possibly go through a self-attestation process.
Thank you. And, I know some people's income might vary. They might be over the threshold and get rejected. Are they welcome to come back and reapply at a later date if that changes?
Absolutely. We are in the third year of this pandemic, and everything is still unknown. A homeowner may not have experienced any financial hardship right now, but should they do so, maybe sometime in December, and their income was affected or they experience an increase in some kind of expense due to the pandemic, then absolutely they can come in and apply. The Director Guinness mentioned earlier that the grant funding will be available up to September 30, 2025. And as long as their funding is still available, then yes, the homeowner can apply then.
And one last question. You know that 15, I know this applies to your mortgage, your property, and your rent and your utilities. That 15,000 is across all three of those programs. So that's kind of the max that they can apply for collectively.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Thank you. I'll defer to my colleagues.
Thank you, Joe. Nick Delgado, Guam Daily Post.
Hey, good morning, guys. Congratulations. Great job on getting this program rolled out and on the start of the pre-application phase now. I'm wondering, what is the time frame now for an applicant if they're approved to actually getting the funds in hand?
Okay, thank you, Nick, for that question. The application process, from the pre-application to the payment process is around 3 to 4 weeks. Of course, we are giving some time for the homeowner who is determined eligible to obtain and submit some of those documents. But once all documents are cleared and the invoice is submitted to our accounting division, it's really going to be about 3 to 5 working days. Payments go directly to the mortgage lender or the utility provider, the homeowner association agency, and Treasurer Guam if it's regarding the property tax. There are no grant funding that is paid directly to the homeowner.
Okay. And with the launch of this program, what does it mean for the Guam Housing Corps' mortgage relief program? Does that negate that program, or is this in addition? And then if for those that did get approved in that program, would they be able to apply for this as well?
This is a new program. It is a new program, and it's also coming from a new funding source. One of the differences between the mortgage relief program with Guam Housing and the homeowners is the income eligibility and the flexibility with the examples of experience of financial hardship with COVID-19. Should a homeowner was eligible and received financial assistance with the mortgage relief program, they are still eligible to apply for the homeowners.
Okay. And it can only, the payments can only apply to the start of the pandemic, January 2020, correct? They can't try and apply to get any arrears or anything paid prior to that date.
That is correct. That date comes from the requirement from U.S. Treasury. So we're not able to, there's no flexibility with that date.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Any representative from the Pacific News Center? Don Sulat, are you here? If not, I'm going to go back around one more time. Nestor Lecanto, any outstanding questions?
Just one. Maybe the banking representatives, if you can address the forbearance agreements, how this might impact those.
I do see we have First Hawaiian Bank, Bank Pacific, and Bank of Guam joining us. So any of our bank representatives, you're welcome to respond.
Nestor, why don't you repeat your question?
Sure. I understand that previously under the CARES Act, any federal-backed mortgages were subject to this same sort of relief. The forbearance agreements were subject to the same sort of relief. I was wondering how this would apply currently to current forbearance agreements, if they could comment on that.
Hi, this is Ronnie Everesto from Bank Pacific. From what I understand, the funding program should be able to cover the forbeared amounts that were affected by COVID-19. I think this is something the funding program can confirm.
Yes, absolutely. And so we'll just go back to that date that we mentioned earlier, January 21st, 2020. So anything after that, this grant can cover those in foreclosure or forbearance. And I think this is also one of the items that separates the mortgage relief program with the HAP program. Forbearance was not considered an eligible expense. But this time around, I'm happy that the U.S. Treasury acknowledged that we had a very difficult time qualifying homeowners in need of assistance with their mortgage. And so, yes, homeowners whose mortgage loan status is under forbearance is a qualified expense, and they can apply the $15,000 to that.
All right. Thanks, Ronnie. Thanks, Audrey. Appreciate it. That's all I got.
Thank you, Nestor. Candid News, anyone? Joseph Titano, PDM, any outstanding questions?
No more questions on my end. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Joe. Nick Delgado, any outstanding questions?
No questions here. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Don Sulat or any representative from PNC, any questions? If there are no more questions from the members of our media, I want to give the floor back to Acting Governor Josh Tenorio for some closing remarks.
Thank you very much. I want to encourage homeowners who have been financially affected by the pandemic that has caused a backlog in mortgage payments and utility payments or other eligible obligations that are due. Please take the time to submit an application with the Guam Department of Administration. We want to help you. We have folks that are standing by, ready to try and determine your eligibility, and in some cases, make sure that you have the adequate supporting documentation to get your relief. In the next few weeks, the governor and I will be announcing plans to open a disaster relief center. In this center, we intend to have personnel from various agencies that will be able to provide assistance, answer questions, and help individuals complete applications for any number of the pandemic or relief programs that are being administered by the various agencies of the government of Guam. The governor and I look forward to trying to make sure that we help the people, make sure that they understand all of the programs and services that they're eligible for, and that the government of Guam agencies and their personnel will be standing by and ready to assist. We thank you for your time, and we hope that you come in, make the inquiries, and submit these applications. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us virtually. Again, please apply if check your eligibility. Please be safe.